The 76-year-old man, who stood towards of his elder position in Rome while he was loaded in June recent year, will not listen a definitive judgment of the judge on if the instance will begin to test for up to 2 weeks, perhaps much longer. He has intensively rejected all extortion. The 1 week the left 50 witnesses will offer evidence at Melbourne Magistrates' trial wherever the instance versus Pell has been heard with previous March. While the listening closing Thursday, submissions will be done by both of Pell's defense crew and the proceedings for the judge to evaluate. Protesters and supporters external trial Pell has visited Melbourne Magistrates' trial each day, frequently followed by boyfriend and advisor Katrina Shelder, of the Diocese of Sydney. For the at first 5 days of the listening, the trial was close to the social and the print as it heard live video-linked testimony of his accusers. A fistful of both of protesters and supporters, several keeping placards, include "Welcome Pell on the stairs" of the trial every date. He firmly denies all the concoction versus him. Police force and safety guard include stored the main a secure range of onlookers. In Australia, a fulfillment listening operates in a such way to a great jury trial listening in the US, besides there the defense crew can testing the proceedings testimony. While it concludes, the judge will later do a judgment on if the instance should begin to a complete test at a high trial. Repeated concoction heard the fulfillment transactions include done everyday headlines in Pell's home nation as repeated concoction founded for the instance. One statement heard was how Pell supposedly offended an prosecutor for a trip to a pond in the 1970s. Pell was told to include been guest on in else clergyman by a big Roman Catholic household he knew, to accede them for water supply skies and afternoon chike. The main is as well estimated to include devoted misuse at a bathing swimming pool wherever he was seen cooperating in swimmers above several summers in the 1970s. L's statement accuses him of misuse as sacrifice at a movie in 1978 for a screen of Steven Spielberg's 1977 hit scientific fictitious movie Shut Encounters of a Tertiary Type. The at first day the social and print were permitted behind in the trial, the dad of a man who was supposedly offended by Pell tell of his child's deadly reduction in narcotic misuse. In a drama at first outdoor meeting, the trial heard the estimated sacrifice dead 24 several hours following outgoing police force guardianship 4 persons year back. The eyewitness, who could not be mentioned, said the trial via live video connection of his child's tragical drug addiction to heroin that conduct to his random die in 2014 fair following creature liberated in Sunlight, Victoria, for an unidentified question. I trust he was utilized to take a lot more than heroin and he mind he could do how but it was fair too lot for his flesh, he told. The trial as well heard how it would include been unfeasible for Pell to include devoted misuse for his period as Metropolitan of Melbourne, a position he detained among 1996 and 2001, time tiring his hard formal robes. Several witnesses said the trial how Pell was usually shaded by a clergyman whose responsibility it was to see following the main for his formal duties. The trial as well heard of several witnesses how it would include been noted if any members of the chorus went lacking for any long of period following they leftward the council next massive services. Misuse lawyer and writer by Flame for the fulfillment listening, a guideline misuse lawyer came by Flame by Pell's defense crew, as so as the job of an writer who wrote a volume on several of the concoction up extortion were done. St. Bernard Barrett, a retired academia and voluntary for Victims Hall team break rights, was charged manufacturing erroneous concoction versus Pell while an prosecutor contacted him via his mom. Frequently increase his vote and pounding his kulak on the spreadsheet, Robert Richter, Pell's conduct lawyer, charged Barrett of hard to do a behalf for oneself by manufacturing claims versus Australia's largest elder Roman Catholic. Richter as well hit out at a mom of an prosecutor who modified her police force declaration following read a volume on several of the concoction by ABC reporter and writer Louise Milligan. The mom, who planned as a nursing, cried time giver testimony and told she requested to add in a ram she newly withdrawn, how she had waited for length periods external St. Patrick's Council in Melbourne in her car for her son who sing in the chorus for massive services. Richter charged the mom of addition in the pertinent part following a volume by Milligan named Maine, The Growth and Drop of George Pell, was gone about among household members. Milligan is a eyewitness in the instance and set to be crucifix examined the 1 week. The trial heard of the mom of Elle's estimated sacrifice who after dead of a heroin overdosage how she'd requested Milligan not to involve her interviewing in her volume. The mom had afraid it could spoil legislative transactions. Yet, Milligan went front and turned on the female's detailed information in her volume, that is yet on selling in Australia, anywhere besides in the country of Victoria wherever the instance is creature heard. Pell set to back to Divinity School to wait news story. The Maine is anticipated to back to a Divinity School in New Southward Wales following the listening ends on Thursday to wait news story of the judgment on if he will person a complete test after in the year. Pell previous detained the prominent elder roles of Metropolitan of Melbourne and Metropolitan of Sydney up driving through to Rome in 2014. He was quickly equipped the elder part of headman of the Secretary for the Economics and became a trust drawing shut to Pope of Rome Francis. At a news story meeting at the Vatican in June recent year while he was loaded, Pell told he had been the sacrifice of ruthless nature murder. I'm harmless of these extortion, they are erroneous, Pell told. Same entire concept of sex misuse is abominable to me.